or is that the way you got it?
I can.
There we go. Let's
Look
see.
at that. When you get the right ring light, look at all the fancy things you can do.
Let's see. Well, don't get ahead of yourself. I'm gonna make sure that it's all. There we go.
Oh, I can adjust my angle too.
That's what he said. All right.
Yeah, he was bragging.
Let's see. Let me make sure I have.
It almost looks like I'm a
Joy.
text.
There you are. Okay, now I got you on screen.
You also have a cup of joy.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's nice. Hey, Joy.
Hello.
Okay. So yeah, I started a little bit early just because I didn't want to have to change the time again and force me to do this thing right. But yeah, we're gonna do a quick review of everything that kind of happened in episode 4, and then we're gonna go right into episode 5. I mean, quick, because we didn't get a chance to talk about episode 4 that much, but let me just do one last thing, make sure that all the graphics are correct. Is this it? YouTube, Google. There we go. That should be good. And let me officially find the right picture. Because this was episode 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, tonight
This is episode 5. So let's talk a little bit about episode 4. We'll do it real quick because it was a week ago. We're late. We didn't get a chance to talk about it during the last rundown. So we saw Joel and Ellie. They came to Kansas City immediately. Starting, what do they always say online? Just comply with the officers, get out of the car, and comply. And none of that would have happened. It wouldn't have gone as bad as it did, right? Now you stirred up a whole hornet's nest of rebel leaders, and now you're in the thick of it.
In
so,
the case of this town, I don't.
But
think
Joel knew that guy was
it's a setup, right?
I mean,
yeah, setup.
I mean, she's a kid, so I give it to her because everybody knew. No, that dude, that's a fake. You don't get out.
Say something else, Nixon. I'm gonna make sure your sound is good. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It was a complete setup, but I mean, I was a little bit with Ellie too. I was like, wait, is he a firefly? And then the dude was up top, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm glad they didn't pull over.
Exactly, yeah. And the fact that they went into hiding and had to and what was the leader of this of Kansas City? What's her name? That was played by
Melanie Linsky.
Miss Linsky.
Her name is Kathleen.
Kathleen, yeah.
Like you just got into the middle of her revenge storm. Like her whole I heard that they're representing these non-playable characters in the game. I haven't gotten to this part. Joey was asking me, did you see this in the game? Like, no. Everything after episode 2, that's how far I got in the game. But I heard that these were like these non-playable characters, really. And then the show is giving them some really deep backstory.
I personally like that they picked the actress that's playing her because it makes it that much more, I don't know the word I'm looking for, because she is a very soft-spoken,
it's more menacing. I was thinking about that too.
So
it's more
so
menacing.
Sweet, yet she's so not sweet.
Yeah, the way she talked in episode 4, you can tell that she wasn't about playing taking anybody's BS. The whole thing with what if I had like she's talking with the doctor that she was obviously planning on taking out the whole time. And what if I have a doctor? Oh, it won't matter. They won't survive. Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me go handle something real quick. Be right back. Bam.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Excess baggage. Bye.
And it played out more in episode 5. I won't get into it yet, but as far as like episode 4, the whole thing about how they give me a chance to let me see if I can get us all on screen here. Let me fix this while I talk. But you could tell I was wondering if she was gonna be around for a while. Obviously, we got the answer to that, today. But I was wondering if she was gonna be around. a little bit, but because that character was so crazy. I was joking with oh no, I'm about to get ahead of myself again. So the cap it off on episode 4, going into hiding, Joel having to defend Ellie, and we got to see their bond growing with Ellie with the joke books and stuff. I love the fact
Finally getting him to laugh.
Yeah, finally getting him to laugh. The way that episode ended with Joel busting out laughing out, because I called it. I said that's it. That's the and now he loves this girl. Like I thought what I know you're all about your corny dad jokes, Nixon. Did you what did you think about the whole with them bonding more?
That it runs in the jeans joke was my favorite, and they're doing that on their press junkets now. They're sharing what are their favorite puns.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't remember one that I saw her share on the press junket, and he was like, well, all of mine are bad. They're just like naughty. Yeah. And he told just a terrible one. I looked up one, and it's like, what do you call an illegally parked frog? Toad.
Oh, I get it. I don't know. Am I allergic to cats now, or is it what's going on? The cats are running around me. But the whole thing with us learning, because that was the whole mystery, like who is she looking for? Why is she upset? Now I'm sure the video game people were like, we already know what it is, but I was assuming that we were going to have a couple of more episodes with the Kansas City location. I was very shocked on how it wrapped up in these 2 episodes, but I was okay with it. I feel like the way it ended in episode 5 was great. That episode 4 was good to get them their bond, happening. Like he's starting to his resting bitch face is starting to it's starting to melt away, and seeing Ellie admit that wasn't the first time I wonder what she meant by that. Now I haven't played the game, so I don't know what she meant by when she said it wasn't her first time killing somebody when she saved Joel's life. So I'm real curious on what that means. Is she talking about a family member? Did she have to fight somebody? Now I don't know the answer to that. And anybody who played the game who does know the answer, please don't spoil it for me because I haven't finished the game. But I know that's going to circle back around because they brought it up again in the previously on leading up to this episode. But anything else about episode 4 that anybody else wants to talk about before we go into episode 5 and go deep throating on episode 5? Anything?
I'm ready to get into into episode 5. Dang it, you.
No, so episode 4 was definitely a slower. It wasn't anything. I mean, it was good. It wasn't as quite as super action packed. Yeah. It moved a little slower because it was more of another ground laying episode.
Yeah, it was. It was more of a calm before the shit really hit the fan in episode 5. So we go right into episode 5. Like Nixon, this was the first. Okay, so Nix, this was the first time on an episode where me and Joy have seen horrors before, but it's been a while. I don't know if I've ever. I don't think I've ever seen it. Joy at the end of it, Joy was literally like, it was tense. She tensed up.
I don't like the clickers.
That episode was terrifying.
I don't like clickers, and I don't like children clickers.
The fact we got the way they do zombies in this show is way better than the way they did it in The Walking Dead.
She's like a 5-year-old.
And the way she was tumbling around in the car, we're getting ahead of. I mean, well,
so fast.
Leading up to that, when we learned about Henry, and we were trying to figure out who the hell Henry was. I couldn't tell if Henry was the old white guy or if it was him. It took us 5 minutes to figure out who Henry was until the closed captions finally confirmed. Okay, that's Henry, and that's Sam. All right. But
the way that whole story came together, the whole storyline, I was like, oh, okay, so that's who he is. That's who they're looking for. That's who everyone's looking for. And now
What
brought
did
us
you
back
think
to
Kathleen
focus.
was upset about? Did you? I had my theory. What did you before we figured it out? What did you assume Kathleen was pissed about?
I figured he was a part of them, a person who went rogue and just like did them dirty. I didn't think it was a person who unalived her brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Joy?
I had said something partway through before we knew what happened. I said the same thing. I said I thought he was part of their team, and then didn't like how Kathleen was behaving, and decided he was done with that and wanted to leave. And she was not having it.
And everybody, by the way, that's watching in the comment section, if you saw the episode 5, we're going into spoilers, so I hope you saw it. But if you have anything that you want to point out, that you want us to discuss, your favorite parts or the worst part, whatever you want to talk about, put it in the comments after hitting the like button.
Oh yeah.
I thought, I was like, that's her baby mama. He got caught cheating, and she about to fuck him up. You can look at. I was like, she's a level 7. I always call white women who love black guys level 7. She's dating at a level 7. She's a level. That's my word for it. Level 7. I'm like, look at her eyes. Look at her. Look at her eyes. You can tell that's love. That's hate love in her eyes. That man got caught with Becky with the good hair. And Kathleen ain't about that. Kathleen about to wreck shop on Henry.
Joel is like, you're a dirty rat.
You dirty, yeah. But you learned that Fedra was occupying the city for so long,
years.
almost like about 15 years. I thought.
He said 20.
And then Kathleen helped the citizens rise up and wipe them all out. Because at first I was like, when we're trying to figure out why they were so afraid of Kathleen, I'm like, to me, it feels like you're just exchanging one tyrant for another. Kathleen seems like she's going to be just as brutal as Fedra. So then I was like, I'm like against Kathleen. I'm like, yeah, dude, get away. She's nuts. But then when you learn that he was a rat, Joy, you were all like, well, you don't know what were you saying about it? You don't know how anybody's going to act in that situation, right? Until you're faced with it.
Right, because when Joel was talking to, before he even knew the whole full story, they had their first little escape, and he tells Henry, you know what, dude, I'm wrong. You seem like an okay dude. I'm sure you had your reasons, and you don't know what and I wasn't in your situation, so I'm not going to judge you. And then the dude was like, well,
yeah. That was the one thing about Henry. There was always something effing else.
And I
said, like, when I said that I wasn't a rat bastard, what I really meant was I sold everybody out.
And I'm like, but still, he was doing what he felt he had to do to save his baby brother.
He was doing the Lord's work.
And I said to Chris, that's something that people always say. It's very easy to say what you think you would do in someone else's shoes, but you never know what you would really do until you are in those shoes. So Joel was, you don't know what you would do.
Yeah. You don't.
I'm pretty sure, given the fact, if it was his daughter that he lost, if that was a choice of, I can save my daughter if I do something as a dirty rat, he probably would have been a dirty rat too.
Maybe. But then, and then we talked about that while we were watching, but it's like, because I looked at the number of people that were all out and about in the city. There was a lot of people that was running around in the city. And then you looked at the number of people that they didn't, obviously that they didn't kill, that they captured alive, all the rats that they imprisoned. It was just a small group of all the informants and the rats and all that stuff. So you're like, you got to think about all the people who didn't rat and all the people who didn't sell out. Obviously in the situation, if you're scared, if you're hungry, or if you're trying to, gain favor, like the cancer thing was because the whole time I'm watching the episode, I'm thinking, was this about getting extra food, or is this about getting a little bit of extra this? I didn't even think when he said, oh no, my little brother has leukemia, and they had the only medicine that was going to save him. I was like, oh, well, damn. That's a damn scenario that you're right. anybody probably would have did the same thing, because you don't want to see a family member like suffer like that. But what about you, Nixon? What did you when you learned that he was a rat, and in comparison to all the people who weren't rats and trying to clear the city out of all of Fedra and stuff, but when you learned what was the real reason why he was doing what he was doing for his little brother, how'd you feel about Henry after that?
It didn't change my perspective of Henry whatsoever. I mean, I feel like when it comes to those times, you know, you're going to have to do what you're going to have to do. Desperate times call for desperate measures, especially with your family and the ones you love.
But was Kathleen wrong at the end when she said, you know, we're like, technically we're all in this together, and not one person is more important than the whole village? Is the needs of what's that old question? Is the needs of the few greater than the needs of the many? The many. I mean, on a technical aspect, like, she technically was not wrong, because there's other children probably involved too out there in that city. So, but what the reason why I kept going back and forth, at first I was like, no, Kathleen's a tyrant, just because they were talking. But then they started talking about how Fedra for 20 years, when they cleared the city out and put all the infected and put them at bay and made the city clean, quote unquote, safe, but they were corrupt. They would assault on a sexual level, I don't want to say the word, people, and after 20 years of that, you know, it would, I guess even the liberators would be just as cruel as the people that they overthrew. You saw them dragging bodies in the street and celebrating lynches and stuff. I was like, dude, I'm getting uncomfortable the whole time. Like, all right, how long is it going to take for these guys to try to take things back to 1955? I'm like I don't know I was really getting uncomfortable with this city. What was you about to say, babe?
No, I'm saying I'm just always one who's like, there should be the possibility of having a middle ground. No, you don't need to be all roses and candies and rainbows.
But she was taking no prisoners.
But you also don't need to be so violent that it doesn't need to be one extreme or the other. You can be super strict to make sure that that everyone is free.
But would you feel that way after 20 years of being occupied by those guys, after they're assaulting you like that, sexually, seeing them, what they're doing to your neighbors and what they're doing to women and stuff like that? I'll take it. I'm like, but to answer that, what do you guys think about that? I'm gonna step away for a second because he is trying to climb up along. What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't know. It's a tough one for me to. I mean, I know that when they were overthrowing Fedra. Yeah, I get. It was basically kill or be killed, but I'm talking about after that.
Well,
yeah.
The whole thing of, they clearly have the capability to imprison people.
Well, we don't know if the whole place was about to turn into Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood once they got all of the rats out of there. Now that all the rats are, she seemed to treat everybody else great. You notice how she talked to. The only thing I didn't like about Kathleen, I like this about her, but the one thing about Kathleen was, you notice how this is what, you know, I'm not trying to sound like the red pill society, how guys are talking about how some women can be, like she doesn't know her place. You know, but did you notice how she spoke with that, the way her tone would be so soft, but she was the way she was cutting into even her right-hand man. It was like, oh, well, like, what do you think I should do?
I didn't feel like it was going to be a Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood when the fact that Joel and Ellie have nothing to do with Kansas City. They're not rats, but we certainly didn't say, hey, where are you guys coming? What you doing? We just said, I don't know them, kill them,
but we're talking about 20 years of a post-apocalypse situation.
So it didn't seem like it was going to be we're going to find out who you are, and if you're okay, you're you're welcome
Well,
to
yeah.
be a part
Yeah.
and live. It was like,
But
we don't know you're dying.
But to be fair, I mean, you only set up kill traps like that on the border of your city like that if the majority of the people who come into your city are always 9 times out of 10 a threat. And Joel himself in the last episode said he was a part of groups like that did those same things. So the reasons why they have the borders set up to be traps, they seem to have their reasons. But if maybe they would have captured them and interrogated them for a while and then gave them the choice to join the city or be executed, because you can't, with the world being the way it is, you can't risk anything. We're judging it by the way we have 911 and we can call police right now. It's old West rules in that world. I'm like, that's what I keep trying to go back to. What about?
I mean, and this is what it comes down to. This is why Joel is a lone wolf. Like, why rely on anybody else? Why have anybody else? Why be in a group when you have to answer to somebody?
Yeah.
If you're by yourself, you don't have to answer to anybody.
She was a cold-blooded tyrant. Like she was. For all, there was times where I was like, man, like I said, you're just exchanging one tyrant for the next. She's probably anointing herself the queen or the new king or whatever, and she's probably going to be just as cruel to to the citizens who weren't rats and stuff like that. We don't know. She may be, but
I mean, even to the bitter end, she was like, Henry's dying.
Yeah, I know the fact that she knows exactly why Henry did what he did, and she did not care, made her more just like on the level of a Darth Vader or Magneto from the X-Men. There was no negotiating with her.
She was willing to take out Sam too.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like they're telling you these two kids have nothing to do with anything.
I was wondering.
I don't care. They're all gotta go.
No, that's not how this works. Mm-hmm. Because, but think about it. Was she wrong? Because then she would have to answer to the other parents who these collaborators.
Well, there wasn't a collaborator.
But you also have to go back and answer. Now, imagine if you were a citizen who didn't rat anybody out, but you were impacted by a rat who worked for federal and it affected you personally, like one of your family members was killed or something like that. Now your leader says, I'm going to eliminate all these rats, and you come back with one of the rats. Wait, my kid was taken out because of what that rat did, but you want to protect his kid? Like, no. You got Kathleen. Is it Kathleen or Catherine?
Kathleen.
Kathleen was willing to go to every extreme. Like she was not gonna set up any rules for debates. Like if I say I'm gonna eliminate every threat or any traitor, I'm gonna eliminate it all. And not only that, their offspring, all of it. I'm going to eliminate every threat and every possible threat. She was cold-blooded. Now you got to be afraid of a person like that, but you're gonna be safe with a person like that. I like Kathleen.
Elated when the demon clicker child said,
"Oh yeah, okay."
Yes.
But before we get ahead of that, but let's talk about leading up to it, like the whole thing with we're gonna go into the tunnels. And I heard a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who says it's gonna be safe.
The number kept changing. It's been 2 to 3 years. I mean, I'm sure. It's like, how sure exactly?
I'm pretty sure it's safe down there.
And then you walk in the door. See, it's empty. Like, dude, we just opened the door.
Joy said that. Like, Joy was like, just like in Joel's mind. Like, dude, Henry was too optimistic the whole time.
See? Like,
we're good, bro.
Just open the door.
Look at all this fresh air down here in this tunnel.
Told you.
But the more I saw it, that was what was so brilliant about this episode. It kept giving me so much hope after the way the 4th episode ended and the way this one was kind of started and the way it started progressing. I'm like, oh my God, things are getting better. It looks like there's a school down here. There's crayons. There's toys.
Were we watching the same episode? I was like,
no.
The entire time.
I was mad that Henry was too optimistic. I was like, yeah, dude, shut the hell up.
But I was like, what happened to all the little children's
Yeah,
down
yeah.
there? Where did they go?
And then I was like, yeah, this place is. It was like that scene on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's quiet, yeah, a little too quiet. I'm like, where are the dead bodies? There were no bodies. There were nothing down there. It was just totally abandoned. There's comic books, toys, and it looked like there used to be, like, then they explained it that the first thing some people did was they went on the ground and stuff. But then what happened? Did the last person just starve to death? Where's the bodies was the only thing that freaked me out.
It didn't even really look like, like in some spots we've gone to, you see fungus on the walls.
Yeah,
you didn't even see anything.
But that proved Henry was right about that Fedra did suppress it to a certain point. They just didn't know exactly what really happened until we find out later when they made it to the other side and the sniper.
What was with that sniper on the other side? Like, was he there by himself? Like, was he a whole Bill's like situation?
No, he was another border lookout guy. He was working for.
He had a walkie-talkie.
He had a walkie-talkie. He was working with Kathleen.
No, I know he had the walkie-talkie, but like, I'm just wondering, like, was that his like shelter? Like, I almost want a little bit more backstory, but not really.
Yeah, it seemed like whatever, like what Henry said was the one, besides all the murdering that they did and the assaulting of the women and stuff like that that those corrupt Fedra guys did, he said the one good thing that they managed to do was to clear the city of the infected and the fungus. But what we learned at the end of the episode was what they really did was they just suppressed it into it. The fungus decided to just go dormant to a certain level underground.
Like tremors.
Yeah, like tremors.
They're in the ground.
Which is what we saw in episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
They gave us a preview of it, but we didn't really see.
We didn't quite really understand what we were looking at.
Who picks an old man who can't shoot the broadside of a barn to be your sniper man?
His whole job was, if Henry comes through this way, you call us. You keep him suppressed long enough for us
he's
to.
He's not going to hit me. He can't hit anything.
Yeah, he's not hitting. When the old man noticed that Joel was obviously gonna try to duck back, and because he saw there was more than one person, and then he saw that that one person was making a run. I'm like, dude, obviously he's coming to you, old man. What are you doing? Like lock your door or whatever. He didn't care. That dude, he was given that he was a Walmart greeter. I'm just gonna tell you. I'm gonna say it just like that. That was his job. You want to be useful, Skip. That's his name, Skip. You want to be useful, Skip? We're gonna put you out in the tower. We're gonna give you a couple bullets, and he was like a mall cop. Just call us if you see something. Shoot at him, yes. We know you can't shoot for shit, but Skip, we gonna let you be a greeter. That was it. He was a Walmart greeter. He was like, pow, welcome to Walmart, pow, welcome to Walmart. That was his job. Skip had a job. He was happy. I was happy for Skip.
Well, Skip died.
Until Joel.
Joel's like, don't do it.
Joel,
don't you do it.
See, Joel is
Bye, Skip.
Always taking away things I love. Got that rest. What did she say? He's got that resting bitch voice.
I said that.
He's got the
asshole voice.
Yeah.
She goes, he just has asshole voice.
He just has asshole voice. He's like, yeah, we're good. Like, God damn it, Joel.
That's exactly what I said not to do.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. Like, and I felt Henry. Like, dude, though I don't like the way you talking. You making me nervous, right? I'm like, I was 100% on Henry's side, but until I found out that he was a rat. But again, I understand. I get it.
And at the end, it's basically like Bill to Joel.
Yeah.
I don't like you, but we're cool now.
Yeah, Joel became Bill, and yeah, it was funny how, because just like his note, he said we're the ones that we're here to keep the people that we love safe. So yeah, he went full Bill on that. All right, so moving on to after Skip was shooting at the gang, Scooby and the gang, and then Kathleen and the Funky Bunch came through to ambush him. And they caused that explosion.
Joel snipered the driver of the tank clearing, whatever that vehicle was with the snowplow on the front.
Mm-hmm. I was like, is that bulletproof? What is he?
About to lose your.
Yeah. Hold on. Go ahead.
And I was like, no. You can't catch me. I was like, get her, Joel. And of course his gun jams.
Yeah. And but he finally got that one good shot off of the driver. Finally. And,
Yeah.
and the whole episode
But you
played
can
like a
also
video
tell
game.
Now he is
Seriously.
invested because he was nervous as
Yeah.
he was.
To lose.
He's shaking and like, gotta get it.
But
Don't let him get caught.
But when that explosion happened, and the ground when we saw that they were about Henry gave himself up, like you can take me, but don't hurt the kids. And now Catherine's like, no, I'm gonna hurt the kids. Oh, I'm hurting everybody.
They're all going.
Y'all all about to get these hands. And then when Joy saw the truck tilt, she
was
called.
like-
She said, "What?" She was like this the
I
whole
was like,
time.
where's the truck going?
What is that? What is
exactly?
going on back there? I was like, and
Well, you
because-
have the closed caption, and I was like, it says snarling. It says snarling on the screen.
But I remember seeing this image in the trailer from last week. So I was like, oh yeah, I saw this image. So I think we're about to, I thought the big guy was going to be the only thing that was going to come out. But when the truck got sent underground, and
I mean, like
you
50
learned,
things came flying.
Flying.
At warp speed, they came out of that hole.
Nixon, I'm gonna tell you, Joy was like what, like that. That's when the show turned into a horror movie.
He's safe. Yeah.
They flew out of there.
It was bad, and then with Joel trying to take many of them out as she can.
That's when he was really shaking, trying to shoot them one by one.
Yeah.
To keep them off of Ellie.
Kathleen's right hand man, I keep forgetting his name, but I mean, he was like, he knew that it was over. He was like,
oh, when the
Yeah, that's right.
the ultimate level boss.
yeah, when the boss
comes
level,
out of the
the
ground.
boss
The
clicker,
boss.
when he comes out, he's like, don't look back. Yeah, this that yeah.
Chris is like, that must have been a wrestler before.
That dude had to have been. Yeah, that was The Rock. Somebody. He was somebody.
He was
huge.
all just like, go ahead and
That dude
shoot
was
me.
big.
They're
Yeah,
just like-
he knew his
massive.
gun wasn't gonna do anything. He could tell.
Yeah, and her with her little handgun. I was like, honey, what are you doing? Run.
I know, yeah, and she's just throwing it back.
Well,
Like, what is that?
yeah, but then that when it led up to the car scene, when Ellie got into that car, she looked like she was safe.
I
and
felt
then the
like
little
they were giving each other some little
Signals?
signals. Like, I'm looking this way. All right, let me clear it for you. Keep going.
Yeah.
that would have been some that would it takes a lot of training for that. I doubt that was what was being portrayed, because that kind of non-verbal communication.
Well, she was looking at that truck,
Yeah,
and then
it
he
looked
starts
like it.
shooting at that truck to clear her path. So that she
yeah,
could
that makes
pop
sense.
through
Okay.
the back window.
Yeah, like there's a window open over there, so you can go for it. Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes
And
sense.
then the demon spawn.
The little girl
Clicker child.
clicker freaked
Oh my
Joe.
God.
The way she kept tumbling, like she was,
Yes.
oh, that little girl is a gymnastic.
That
She
is
was-
way worse than Megan right there.
She,
Yes,
I thought it was clever. That one scene alone was better than most of what of the horde scenes that we've seen in.
That little girl was like the
and,
Grudge mixed with a zombie. I was,
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about all the clickers, all the zombies or whatever, and that was better than most of the zombie scenes that I've seen in a long time.
Well,
Remember
yeah,
Resident
because
Evil,
on The Walking Dead, they walk at the pace of a turtle.
Yeah.
and that's it.
But-
These
But even then, when you're surrounded though, I mean, it's still so slow. It's still, but
these guys are booking it.
these things were were clawing in all directions, biting in every direction. Like the whole time when Sam and Henry were under the car, I'm like, there's no way in the world that these guys are not getting bit. And because you saw in Sam's position, his legs were so exposed. They're kicking. I was like, how are they not getting bit? So I wasn't surprised when it turned out that he was. But before we get to that, Kathleen's death though, how'd you feel about
I was
that?
like, she still can't let it
Well-
go. She is like, I'm killing you.
I
Henry."
promised my brother I would shoot you in the face.
Yeah, when she turns them around, she goes, Henry. I'm like, oh no. But then when that little ballerina clicker comes out. I'm like, yes!
And then she was like with the hands.
Yeah, she was. She
I
was
was like, holy crap.
you know what I said? Okay, so going back to what we talked about in Act 1 when me and Amy Newman were talking about entertainment news, and we discussed that actress Adrienne Curry that was hating on what's her name, Melanie. Yeah, I was like, when that little girl clicker was clawing at her face, I was like, well, you know that's Adrienne Curry's favorite scene. You know she's somewhere watching this show right now going, yes. I
should have waited an episode to
tweet. Exactly. That's exactly what I felt. I thought that Kathleen's story would stretch out just at least one more episode to give the idea that maybe she was going to be a lasting character to really piss off Adrienne Curry a little bit. But I was saying somewhere out there, Adrienne Curry is like watching that on rewind and repeat. Yeah, Clara face, like hate, just hating. But anyway, that's just a stupid side joke. but the way she died, like I was like, damn. The whole time I was like, Kathleen was right. Just like Scar in Lion King, Kathleen was right. But the second the second that horde came out and got everybody killed, and then she got killed, I was like, I instantly became I instantly betrayed her. I was like, damn, Kathleen, you should have listened to your brother, man. You stupid. I instantly betrayed her. I was like, you stupid, Kathleen. I should have never listened to your ass. Why was I so captivated by Miss Kathleen? I know
the whole dynamic between Ellie and Sam for me was definitely,
it was sad.
Like at first it was extremely endearing. I was like, wait, the Henry and Sam dynamic in the beginning, like all the pictures and stuff, like I totally cried like a baby.
Yeah,
like,
her admitting sweet. That she didn't want to be alone.
Well, and it was so cute.
Yeah, and then the Ellie and Sam part toward the end, like that was extremely sweet. Yeah. I was like, oh no.
It was a Game of Thrones moment. They were purposely making us fall in love with the idea that these group is gonna get stronger and better and be like, and they ripped it away from you.
They totally like, Game of Thrones does.
When they were walking,
yeah,
and she's like, you guys can come with us, and of course Henry's like, yeah, I don't know if Joel. He's like, no, you just got to keep asking. You just keep saying it over and over.
Yeah, just ask him a million times.
Like, okay.
Yeah. Then that resting bitch voice of his will eventually say yes.
And finally at the end, he's like, you know, you can come with us.
Yeah. Otherwise, Joel was like, if she ever tells you that diarrhea is hereditary, don't fall for it. It's something about.
Well, and that was cute. She was reading the puns to the little boy, and he's laughing, and he's like, I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah. They purposely tugged at every heart. I'm telling you, Nixon. I'm telling you. I've watched comedies with my wife. I've watched horror movies. I've watched all types of genres. I've seen her react to I've seen her laugh her head off. I've seen her get scared. I have never seen every emotion happen. It wasn't even an hour. It was the last 15 minutes. Joy was going through it. The whole, like, jumping and hiding behind her shirt and hiding behind her and like she was at first, Joy, you didn't even know if you were even gonna watch this show. Now you're like locked in because they don't just make every episode about blood and guts and going. I'm about to say blood and guts. I learned when I was a little kid that there was an author named Christopher Fagan, just like my name, that wrote a book called Blood and Guts Are Going Nuts. So for some reason, that line is always in the back of my head.
Well, anyway. Now we've already started to see, you pointed out, that Ellie's becoming hardened. The first signs, like Joel. Yeah. She's like, come on.
Yeah, well, the creators of the show on the last recap that they did talked about that, like how when she killed that guy to save Joel's life, she instantly just washes it away, trying to toughen up. She's afraid of being alone.
Now she's made a little friend.
Yeah, she
was a little actually happy for once.
She let her guard down, and they Game of Thrones that shit.
And she was like, she just is. Let's get out of here. Come on.
Like, this is what happens when I try to have friends. They get bit.
She chops Joe. Come on, Joe. Let's go.
Come on.
Move it.
Yep. She's
No,
like,
that-
which way is west? All right, let's go.
Yeah,
Come
when
on.
she wrote "I'm sorry," and that was probably it's gonna probably be a while before I doubt if I'm fully suspecting. I didn't watch Did you watch the trailer to the next episode? Because I haven't watched it yet either. I'm gonna after we finish with this, I'm gonna go watch it. I would not be surprised that in episode 6 that Ellie has regressed a little bit. Like, she doesn't want to laugh that much. Like the joke book is probably in the back pocket. She's probably.
We're going like opposite directions because Joel's coming closer to her.
Yeah, and now
she's
she's
going the other way.
I'm feeling like Joel is gonna be going towards her, and she's gonna be pulling away.
And of course, they were both very quick.
Yeah.
Whenever he was like, "Your dad," that's not my dad, and he's like, "No,
Oh,
I'm
they
not
said
your
it at
dad.
the same time.
Yeah,
It's not my dad."
they were trying to stop Henry but when Henry turned, or got bit, and I was like, she's like, my blood can heal you, and I'm like, maybe that might work, but there's a reason why doctors like you would know.
Well, I know she
was just going off
being
on
hopeful only because they've told her that hopefully her blood is the cure.
Yeah.
So she's just doing
But
what
definitely
makes
try.
sense to you.
Yeah, definitely try. But we don't.
Yeah.
What do they say? The blood might have to be, what's the word? Synthesized or something like that. It has to be.
Well, they need to figure out why her blood is doing what it's doing.
Maybe her blood could only cure people who are the same blood type. Maybe
She was also educated in the QZ, so she wasn't really educated correctly.
right. But
And I knew as soon as
when Sam was sitting on the bed, sitting up.
I was like, "Oh, he's gone."
She tensed up. She was so. Even me. They even got me to be hopeful. I'm like, maybe he's just.
I was like, "Nah."
Maybe he's
like,
just
oh,
sitting
no.
down because he's just like the old woman in episode 1 who had that choking moment in her wheelchair before. So he was probably just going through that process. It was taking over his brain, and then the second she tried to talk to him, he snapped. He went. I was hoping that they weren't going to do it. I'm like, come.
And I knew Henry was a goner because I was like, "No, Henry's gonna unalive himself right now." I can tell you that.
I did
I
not
knew it.
expect that.
I was like,
Wait, Nixon, you said you did not expect that?
No, I had no idea. I literally screamed, "No!"
I knew he was gonna
Like
do it.
I had to go out and have a cigarette.
He just spent all these
His
years
his purpose was to keep
him going and
like
keep him alive and save him and get them somewhere. And now he's gone. Nah.
Men, especially men, I like that. We go through a process. If I would go through so much depression if that would have been like my one of my the kids or something, because I take it seriously. I take it to heart. His whole purpose was keeping that boy alive. I betrayed a good man, like the guilt of betraying a good man who didn't deserve to be betrayed like the way he did.
And he instantly took
he
him
failed.
out.
Yeah.
And
the fact that he was the one that had to.
He didn't even hesitate. He instantly took him out, and then of course that hit him too. Like he kept saying, "What did I just do? What did I?"
The fact that he stopped Joel from doing it at first. He's like, he took the gun. They're like, no,
because he knew he had to do it.
Because
it's his responsibility. That's how he
Yeah.
felt. He felt like that's.
But that freaked me out. I didn't know what was going to happen. I'm like, dude, are you about to let your brother like bite everybody? What the hell's going on? What?
No, I did too. I was like, wait a minute, what are we doing? But I was like, yeah, that tracks.
I'm going to be the one to do it. But yeah, Joel knew. You can see it in his eyes. Joel was like, I got to get this gun away from this dude. Yeah, he's about, no, dude, don't, come on. We can still make it. We can still go to Wyoming. It's good. You're fine.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
The guilt.
The sequence of events happening the way it did, I did not see that playing it out as it did, and it was a lot for me to take. I had to walk outside.
Yeah, like I said, me and Joy were like
well,
we were going through
you
it.
See then too, because I mean, Ellie's got tears going down her face. It wasn't just I'm scared. She
was bonding.
Oh,
She gained a little brother. She pretty much gained a little brother instantly like
this
that.
This was way worse than her shooting the dude to save Joel. This really messed with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now she, like I said, she's gonna regress. She's gonna now be like, Joel, you were right from day one. Like, don't make don't make connections. You're just cargo. She's going to harden up. And Joel, I'm expecting now Joel is going to have to be the guy that's going to have to break out the joke book and get her to laugh and something's going to. So I'm expecting episode 6 to be a very emotional, like a depressing, like, we got to get Ellie to come back to the light, like kind of a thing. Like she's going to go into a dark place kind of a thing.
Well, we have a lot of walking to do, so
we got time.
Yeah.
Yep.
But overall, these even when they're slow and stuff and whatnot, it's been getting better and better. I would say episode 1, episode 3, then episode 2, then episode 4. Like the order of my favorite. No, I would say as my favorites. I would say starting with episode 1, then episode 5 is my favorite. Then episode 3, then like 2 and 4. Maybe that's the order that I'm gonna do it. But overall, I'm expecting The Last of Us. I'm expecting this episode to even though they broke records last week and the week before and the week before,
it's definitely going to gain more. Especially for people who've been waiting for some more action, and because this one had way more than the second one that had the small bit of clickers in the museum. This had way more action, and
I want a spin off of that little girl doing the gymnastics, man. I want to know what her story is. Why is she so limber? Why is she tumbling around? She like doing cartwheels and biting your and scratching your face off. She's interesting. That's a whole show right there.
I do not want to see more of her. I don't.
No.
Jumping
Jack Clicker. Even Henry was like, "You've seen clickers?" Yeah.
Yeah. That just proves that you're the guy that. Oh man, Henry! I loved his optimism. I loved his optimism.
We gotta kill him already, because like I was digging that we had someone else to balance Joel, and that's
that whole episode got me. I'm like, look, there's fresh drawings on the wall. It's a cat. It's like a school. There's toys. This is so nice. And then when I had time to think, 1 minute later, I'm like, a little too nice. I was just expecting it to all go bad.
It's the Game of Thrones rule. Every time there's some peace, some harmony.
Then the red wedding. But yes. This was not the red wedding episode of Last of Us. No, I can feel that there's something that they can do that can top this. It was close, but I don't feel like we're anywhere near the quote unquote red wedding of it. But we're getting close. Well. Damn it, Henry and Sam, you made us, love you. And then they took you away. I'm sure the people playing, I was saying at the end of the episode, I'm sure the video game players are out there going, don't get too attached, viewers. Don't get too attached. Because like the people who read the books of Game of Thrones, like, no, all weddings suck.
Oh, I know. Like, I've seen memes for the House of the Dragon season 2, and it's like when you find out the first episode.
But episode 6 coming next week. They said on the February it resumed its regular Sunday. So
they didn't want this to compete with Super Bowl.
No,